Well, Blue Jay fans, it's the first time I've talked to you guys off-season edition, and I didn't want to make a Juan Soto video. Why? Because, God, it's miserable, and let's be honest, the Blue Jays really didn't have a chance. Like, if you listen to the podcast that me and the fellas from Blue Jay Center do, the Sick Podcast, if you want to check that out, we talked about it. We talked about it a few weeks ago, and we said, look, and I mentioned, I can't remember when in the pod I mentioned it, but I was like, look, regardless of who offers what, Steve Cohen's just going to be like, hold my beer, here's an extra bit more. It's what's going to happen. And it's what ended up happening. The Jays were never really into it, regardless of all the reports saying, oh, the Jays offered this. I don't care. They were never actually in it, in my opinion. So it is what it is. That's my little spiel on it. He's a Met. He's not a Yankee. It's pretty cool and fun to see that because Yankee fans are losing their mind. And so... yeah, that's that series in May at Yankee Stadium. Ooh, baby, that's going to be a doozy. All right, let's break down the Blue Jays doing something, though. Because with Juan Soto now gone from the market, everyone can just stop and we can all move on. And we can focus on the needs for the Toronto Blue Jays. Which is, let's be honest, like 90% of the team. You need a whole new bullpen. You need some sluggers. You need just everything. So, their first move was actually bringing back Yimi Garcia on a 2-year deal, $15 million, so about $7.5 per. And they traded him at the 2024 trade deadline. They got Jonathan Clase in return, and then they re-signed him in the offseason on a 2-year deal. Look, we all know Yimi Garcia, guys. He had a 3.44 ERA with the Toronto Blue Jays in his, it was 163 appearances as a Blue Jay. Struck out 10.3 guys per 9 innings. Look, that is not your closer. If he is your closer, we have an issue. We obviously heard the news about Jordan Romano going to the Philadelphia Phillies. So, with him now gone, Yimi Garcia, as of right this second, is your closer, which, no thank you. I love Yimi Garcia, but I love him in the 8th inning role, or the 7th inning, depending on matchups. That's what I would love to see for Yimi Garcia. He is great. Jays fans, we loved him. He was other than Jordan Romano for 5 minutes, the only really good thing about the bullpen last year before the deadline, Chad Green was good before he hit that meltdown late in the year. Yimi Garcia, good. Finally. He was 34 years old, but man, we look, Jays fans, if you watched this team last year, at least the first bit of it, God, his stuff was so elite to start the year. I don't know how it was to end the year, but regardless, he was awesome as a Blue Jay. And to have him back, love to see it. We all know what Yimi Garcia is all about. He's got a large arsenal, throws mid to upper 90s. He's he'll stay calm during all the nonsense. Actually, this is what I got here. The veteran hurler 2024 campaign was actually cut short due to elbow inflammation in August. So hopefully he's okay, and that doesn't rise at all, or it doesn't rise. What am I talking about? Does not come up again. Let's put it that way. Next year, but clearly Yimi Garcia enjoyed his time as a Toronto Blue Jay, and at 34 years of age, he's coming back as one of the key pieces to this bullpen, right? They really need to revamp the bullpen, letting Genesis Cabrera go, letting Jordan Romano go. A lot of changes are happening. You have Chad Green, hopefully not in the closer's role. You got Yimi Garcia. You got a couple of guys that you somewhat trust, but you don't have that closer. For me, personally, and this is the name that I floated out on the podcast. And if you haven't checked it out, again, the Sick Podcast on YouTube, on iTunes, wherever you want to find it. Blue Jays Center Edition, if you want to look up it specifically. I mentioned guys that I think the Jays should go after. And, free agency is one thing. It's the easiest thing to do. Just here's some money. There you go. Have fun. The trade market. I asked for Ryan Helsley. The St. Louis Cardinals and the Toronto Blue Jays have always had some sort of, I don't know, relationship, you want to call it that, right? Randall Grichuk trade, Ledmus Diaz trade, guys like that. They've done it in the past. How many times we heard Lars Nootbaar's name, named in the past, and Brendan Donovan's names always come up and stuff like that. So, and Genesis Cabrera, for God's sakes, was acquired from the St. Louis Cardinals as well. They have that relationship. Ryan Helsley's on a cheap contract, a 1 year left in his contract, and in my opinion, he's one of the, if not the best closer in all of baseball. You put him in the closing role. You have Yimi Garcia maybe in your 8th. Chad Green in the 7th, or vice versa, depending on matchups. And you actually have some guys. And hopefully Eric Swanson can maybe turn back the clock to the previous year and maybe the second half of this past season, but not in the 8th inning. Put him in the 7th, put him in the 6th, what you need, right? Lefties maybe, use that splitter kind of thing. So there are options, but you need a closer. So if you really want to build that bullpen, that's the next guy for me. I'm going to wrap the video up there, though, guys, because I got to do another one, and there's a lot more to talk about when it comes to that. But it's the first offseason move of the season for the Toronto Blue Jays. They bring back Yimi Garcia, who is very successful. Hey, no one's going to hate the move, regardless of how you hate Ross and Mark, which, let's be honest, I tried to defend them as long as possible, but now I'm completely off the damn train. You can't get mad at this one. We love Yimi Garcia. We know the type of pitcher he is. Good to have him back. It's a good start. A long way to go. Let's break down that next trade, all right? So you know what, guys? That's going to do it for this one. If you enjoyed the video and are jacked up for at least 2 more years of Yimi Garcia, hit that like button. I do appreciate that. Hit the subscribe button. You guys not done so already. Comment down below thoughts on the video, thoughts on Yimi Garcia returning to the Toronto Blue Jays on a 2-year, $15 million contract. Let me know all your thoughts down below. Twitter, Discord, Instagram, TikTok, all that stuff is down below. So follow up there if you haven't done so already. And I will talk to you guys, Raptors Edition, Thursday, as they're in Miami, taking on the Heat at 7:30. Leafs, home against the Ducks at 7 p.m. on Thursday as well. All on my birthday. I get double sports on my birthday. Love it. And as for the Toronto Blue Jays, I'll talk to you guys very shortly as the Jays acquired Andres Gimenez from the Cleveland Guardians. Thank you guys so much for listening and watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. And Yimi Garcia returning. Talk to you guys then.